So, what if dinosaurs never actually, left the party? What if that whole extinction event was just a big misunderstanding, a cosmic oopsie-doodle? And instead of those annoying pigeons dive-bombing your freshly washed car for the 5th time this week, it was a 6-ton Triceratops, just casually using your prize-winning rose bushes as a light snack? Imagine that. Your meticulously curated hedge, a salad bar for something with horns bigger than your torso. The HOA complaints would be legendary, I tell you. He's at it again, Martha. Call the dino warden. It's a thought, isn't it? A wild, possibly terrifying, definitely YouTube-worthy thought. One minute you're complaining about gas prices, the next you're wondering if your car insurance covers stomped by a patasaurus. Yeah, this is gonna get weird, like finding a Velociraptor in your bathtub weird, or explaining to your boss why you're late because a pterodactyl stole your car keys weird. We're talking about a fundamental rewriting of, well, everything. Daily commutes, grocery shopping, dog walking, especially dog walking. Fido might suddenly find himself a few rungs lower on the food chain. The kind of weird that makes you question all your life choices, like why you didn't invest in reinforced steel roofing. It's not just a little weird, it's re-evaluate humanity's place on the planet weird, you know? This isn't your grandma's what-if scenario unless your grandma was a paleontologist with a wild imagination and a very, very secure bunker. Probably a good idea to have one of those. So, the premise we're diving headfirst into with reckless abandon and possibly not enough research is simple. Dinosaurs are still here. Not in a Jurassic Park kind of way where scientists got a bit too excited with some amber. No, they just persevered. They toughed it out, saw the asteroid, said May, and kept on munching. Which, if you think about it, is a pretty big middle finger to asteroids, really. Good for them. But what does that mean for us, the comparatively squishy mammals who only got their big break because they left? Are we coexisting peacefully? Are we constantly running for our lives? Are dino burgers a thing? These are the important questions, people, and we're here to explore every ridiculous, terrifying, and hilarious angle. So buckle up, because the butterfly effect of this one change is, to put it mildly, ginormous. We're about to embark on a hilarious thought experiment, a journey into a world that's both familiar and frighteningly scaly. Think of it as a nature documentary, but if the nature was actively trying to figure out if you fit in its mouth. We'll look at how they'd survive, how we'd survive, and what kind of jobs a brontosaurus could even get in this economy. Spoiler, probably something in construction, or maybe really tall fruit picking. The possibilities are endless. This isn't about scientific accuracy, okay? This is about fun. And chaos, mostly chaos. So grab your imaginary tranquilizer gun, and your most durable running shoes. We're going to explore what life would be like if the rulers of the Cretaceous decided to stick around for the encore. It's gonna be a bumpy, bitey ride, and I for one can't wait to see the Yelp reviews for T-Rex daycare. Alright, so first things first, if dinosaurs just sort of reappeared or never left, could they even hack it today? Because, the world's changed a bit since they were top dogs or top lizards, whatever. For starters, the air. Apparently, back in the Mesozoic era, oxygen levels were much higher, so a big, lumbering brachiosaurus materializing in modern times might take one whiff of our 21% oxygen air and just wheeze. Like an old chain smoker trying to climb a flight of stairs. Not exactly majestic, is it? Would they all need little dino-sized oxygen masks? Or would they evolve super efficient lungs real quick? Oh, the atmospheric composition is different. Give me a few millennia, I'll sort it out. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. It's a bit of a biological pickle, to say the least, before we even get to the climate. And speaking of climate, it's generally a tad cooler now than their heyday. Unless you're in a heat wave, then it's just Tuesday. But overall, the global temperature is different. Some of these guys were cold-blooded, some warm-blooded. Science is still arguing. Imagine a T-Rex trying to sunbathe to get its metabolism going, but it's just perpetually overcast and drizzly. He'd be so grumpy. Grumpier than usual, I mean. Which is saying something for a T-Rex. My ex's DMs are ice cold, sure, but are they global average temperature drop that makes me too sluggish to hunt cold? Probably not. So, some dinosaurs might be confined to the warmer tropical bits of the planet. Florida would be even more interesting, as if it needed the help. So survival is already looking like a bit of an A, with a side of geographical limitations. But hey, not all dinosaurs were giant city block-sized behemoths, right? Some of the smaller ones, like those clever little raptors or other theropods, they might actually adapt. They're smaller, probably more versatile. Think of them as the coyotes of the dinosaur world. annoying, adaptable, and will eat your cat. After all, crocodiles are still kicking around and they're basically prehistoric murder logs that haven't changed their design in eons. If an angry leather sofa with teeth can survive multiple extinction events, surely a nimble pack-hunting raptor could manage. They'd just have to deal with new prey, new predators, us, probably, and a distinct lack of primordial swamps in downtown Manhattan. Maybe they'd develop a taste for pizza rats. Resourceful. So, the long answer to could they survive is a resounding maybe-ish with a lot of asterisks and footnotes. Some species would probably tap out pretty quickly. Nope, not enough ferns, too many cars, I'm out. Others might find their niche. The smaller, scrappier ones, the ones that aren't too picky about their prehistoric menu. It wouldn't be the grand, sweeping reign of the Mesozoic, more like pockets of scaly survivors trying to make rent. And by make rent, I mean not get turned into a handbag or a museum exhibit. It's a tough world out there, even if you have giant claws and a terrifying roar. Especially if your primary food source now has access to high-caliber weaponry. That's a game changer. So, let's assume for the sake of this hilarious thought experiment that enough of them make it to be a problem. Because otherwise this video is very short. So, dinosaurs are here, they're breathing our subpar air, and they're occasionally wandering into our cities. The big question, would we all just get along, live in beautiful interspecies harmony? Ha 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 ha, no, absolutely not. Are you new here? To Earth, I mean? We can barely live in harmony with slightly different versions of ourselves, let alone giant prehistoric reptiles. There'd be an initial period of global panic, scientific marvel, and a whole lot of screaming. Then once the dust settles and we realize they're not just a weird dream, the real fun begins. The how do we deal with this giant, scaly, often hungry new variable in the ecosystem fun. Hint, it probably involves a lot of meetings and strongly worded letters at first, then bigger fences, first up dino insurance. Oh yes, you know it would be a thing. And it would be a nightmare. Hi, I'd like to make a claim. A pterodactyl swooped down and stole my toupee. And my poodle. Mostly upset about the poodle. What would the premiums even be? Well sir, you live in a known raptor migration path, so that's an extra 50%. And the exclusions. Policy does not cover damage due to acts of wrecks, spontaneous stampedes, or any dinosaur larger than a Labrador. The fine print would be thicker than a Stegosaurus's hide, and just as impenetrable. Imagine the call centers. Thank you for calling Dino Damage Inc. Your call is important to us. Please hold. A Triceratops is currently using our satellite dish as a toothpick. It's a whole new industry built on mitigating the risk of being unexpectedly chomped or stepped on. Then come the dino taxes. Because if there's one thing as certain as death, it's taxes. And now, dinosaurs. What would these taxes even fund? A dedicated dino containment unit? Research into non-lethal deterrents like giant air horns, maybe a dinosaur relocation program for particularly problematic individuals? Sorry Terry, the T-Rex, you can't live in Times Square anymore. We're moving you to a lovely, spacious volcano, and you just know there'd be dino-free zones, gated communities on steroids with walls so high they make medieval castles look like garden fences. The property values in those zones would be astronomical. Enjoy our dino-free lifestyle. May contain very large squirrels. The bureaucracy would be a creature unto itself, possibly more terrifying than any actual dinosaur. And for the smaller, manageable dinosaurs, you'd absolutely need a license to own one. Imagine trying to get a permit for your pet Compsognathus. Is he house-trained? Does he have all his shots? Does he tend to swarm and devour things? The paperwork would be intense. You'd need to prove you have adequate containment, a steady supply of Compi Chow, and liability insurance up to your eyeballs, and there'd be a thriving black market for unlicensed mini dinos, you just know it. People trying to pass off a baby raptor as a rare featherless chicken, good luck with that when it starts opening doors. The local animal shelter would have a whole new wing lost and found prehistoric pets, mostly found, rarely lost by choice. It's a world where your neighbor arguing about property lines is replaced by your neighbor whose emotional support, Dilophosaurus, just spat venom on your prize-winning petunias. Fun! So, with dinosaurs casually strolling about, your daily routine might need a few adjustments. Take jogging, for example. That leisurely morning run through the park? Yeah, that's over. You're no longer just going for a run, you're participating in an impromptu predator-prey simulation. The new fitness trend would be extreme indoor cycling or sprinting to the fortified bus stop. Parks would either be empty or patrolled by heavily armed guards. Or just, raptor buffets. Your commute to work? Forget traffic jams caused by accidents, now it's traffic jams caused by a sleepy stegosaurus blocking 3 lanes. Sorry I'm late, boss. A pack of compies tried to eat my tires. Again, little ankle biters. Outdoor hobbies in general would become significantly more thrilling, and by thrilling I mean life-threatening. And then, there's social media. Oh, glorious chaotic social media. It would be a goldmine. TikTok would be flooded with T-Rex versus literally anything challenge videos. T-Rex tries to unbox an iPhone. T-Rex attempts the latest dance craze, poorly and with much collateral damage. Rating my chances of survival walking past this sleeping Allosaurus. #risky #dino #FYP. Influencers would be having a field day, assuming they don't get eaten mid-selfie. Which, let's be honest, would also get millions of views. The thirst for dino-related content would be unquenchable. My morning routine, living near a pterodactyl nest. Prank channels would escalate wildly, replacing my roommate's car with a very confused Ankylosaurus prank. Gone wrong, cops called. And yes, you absolutely know that some influencer somewhere would try to ride a Triceratops into a Starbucks. Just grabbing a latte with my bestie, Terry the Triceratops, #dino life, #coffee run, #blessed. The baristas would need hazard pay and extensive training in how to handle a 3-horned herbivore demanding a puppuccino, or a fernixino. The one-upmanship would be insane. Oh, you pet a Compsognathus. I taught a pack of Velociraptors to do my grocery shopping. They only ate the cashier twice. The internet would be a bizarre mix of genuine survival tips, terrifying close-call videos, and people doing incredibly stupid things for views. So, basically, not that different from now, just with more dinosaurs, and a higher chance of dismemberment. So, you've decided that dinosaurs are just going to casually stroll back into the 21st century, and the first thing we need to discuss is, naturally, lunch. For them, I mean. Because, let's be honest, the current food chain is about to get a hostile takeover, a complete corporate restructuring, if you will, by a board of directors that communicates exclusively through roars and the crunching of bones. Your prize-winning poodle, Fifi? She's no longer the apex predator of your backyard. She's more like an appetizer. A little amuse-bouche before the main course, which might be your neighbor's slightly larger poodle. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. Or rather, a dinosaur eats dog then eats the other dog and maybe the mailman world. Super easy, barely an inconvenience for the dinos. And it's not just the pets, oh no. Your shiny new SUV, the one you just paid off, the one with the heated seats and the satellite radio, that's basically a T-Rex's new chew toy. Or perhaps a Brachiosaurus's scratching post. Imagine the insurance claims. Cause of damage, Stegosaurus tail swipe. Please see attached blurry photo and sizable footprint. Garages will need to be reinforced bunkers and convertibles. Forget about it. That's just an open-topped snack bowl. Car alarms will be replaced by much louder, more primal screams. Mostly from you, watching your car get turned into a modern art installation titled Metal Accordion. Then we get to our livestock. Cows, pigs, chickens, the very backbone of our current agricultural system. They're either going to go extinct faster than you can say Mesozoic era, or farmers are going to have to get incredibly creative with animal husbandry. We're talking Kevlar vests for chickens, reinforced steel pens for pigs, and maybe training cows in advanced evasive maneuvers. Move over, Bessie. There's a Utah raptor eyeing your flank. The price of bacon is going to skyrocket, not because of supply chain issues, but because the supply is actively being hunted by things that consider a pig pen an all-you-can-eat buffet. Farming will be an extreme sport, so the entire ecosystem is just completely upended. Bird watchers will now be pterodactyl watchers, hoping their binoculars are strong enough to see them from a safe distance, perhaps from inside a concrete pillbox. Squirrels will have to compete with Compsognathus for nuts, and let me tell you, those little guys are surprisingly vicious. They're like tiny feathered piranhas with legs. Going for a picnic in the park? You'll need to pack extra sandwiches, not for yourself, but as a potential offering to whatever large, scaly creature decides to join your leisurely afternoon. It's a whole new world of please don't eat me. Alright, so the planet's ecosystems are in utter chaos, and everything smaller than a rhinoceros is now officially on the endangered and delicious list. What do humans do when faced with overwhelming new apex predators? Do we adapt, learn to live in harmony, perhaps start a very niche diplomatic corps? Ha 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 ha, no, of course not. We build bigger, badder stuff to fight them. It's practically our species' motto. When nature gives you giant, terrifying lizards, you give nature giant, terrifying robots. That's just how we roll, apparently. Someone, probably with a government grant and too much coffee, is already drafting blueprints for a Jaeger-style T-Rex. Think about it, we're not just going to sit idly by while our pets become dino nuggets and our infrastructure gets a prehistoric makeover. Oh no, we're going to militarize. We'll have the Dino Defense Force, the Prehistoric Prevention Protocol, the Anti-Allosaurus Alliance, and the star of the show, a giant, clanking, probably nuclear-powered mechanical Tyrannosaurus Rex. Why a T-Rex? Because it looks cool, obviously. Practicality is for people who aren't currently fighting a 50-foot carnivore. This robot T-Rex will have lasers, missiles, and maybe even a really loud roar to assert its own dominance, which is just peak human ingenuity right there. And if giant robots are a bit too expensive for the Tuesday afternoon raptor attack, don't worry. We'll have weaponized drones. But not just any drones. These will be state-of-the-art, AI-driven, and programmed to scream "clever girl" right before they deploy a net or a tranquilizer dart the size of a javelin, or maybe just a really distracting laser pointer. We'd probably also try to train eagles to drop anvils on them, Wile E. Coyote style, because at some point, when faced with ancient monsters, you just lean into the cartoonish absurdity of it all. It's either that or existential dread, and anvils are funnier. So, the arms race is on. Humans versus dinosaurs, round 2, electric boogaloo, but this time with more explosions and significantly higher stakes. We'd develop dino-specific weaponry tranquilizer guns that can take down a Triceratops, sonic emitters to disorient a pack of Velociraptors, and probably some kind of giant fly swatter for the really big pterosaurs. The research and development budget for anti-dino tech would make the space race look like a bake sale. Because if there's one thing humans are good at, it's finding increasingly elaborate ways to say "stay off my lawn," especially when the trespasser can swallow you whole. Okay, so let's imagine for a moment, just for a tiny improbable second, that some dinosaurs are, chill. Not all of them are hell-bent on redecorating our cities with their teeth and claws. Some of them might actually be open to gainful employment, perhaps after a very intensive interspecies HR onboarding seminar. What kind of jobs could these reformed reptiles hold down in our modern society? Well, first up, pterosaurs. Those magnificent flying reptiles with wingspans that could shade a small car. They're your new air freight delivery service. Goodbye, buzzing Amazon Prime drones that can barely carry a paperback. Hello, Pterodactyl Express, capable of delivering your new refrigerator, your cousin from out of town, or possibly a small boat all in one go. Imagine the logistics. Scheduling conflicts would be a nightmare. Sorry, your package is delayed. Terry the Pteranodon had a bit of a mid-air territorial dispute over Cleveland. And the landing zones. You can't just have these things dropping packages onto your porch. You'd need reinforced helipads or dino pads, maybe with giant fish treats as an incentive for a smooth landing. Plus, the bird droppings would be on an entirely different scale. One pterosaur's bad day could ruin a whole city block's car wash businesses. Then you've got your brontosaurus or apatosaurus or whatever long-necked sauropod is currently in paleontological vogue. These gentle giants with their necks that can reach the top of a 5-story building, perfect mobile crane operators. Need to lift a steel girder to the 30th floor? Just call Barry the Brachiosaurus. He works for leaves and positive affirmations. They'd also be amazing at picking fruit from the tallest trees, revolutionizing the avocado industry. No more dangerous ladders for orchard workers, just a very, very tall dinosaur, delicately plucking produce with its surprisingly nimble mouth, assuming it doesn't accidentally eat the entire tree in the process, which, could happen. So the construction and agriculture industries are transformed. You'd have unionized sauropods demanding better quality foliage in the company canteen, and stricter regulations on how high they're allowed to lift things without proper neck support. Safety briefings would be wild. Remember team, when working with Brenda the Brontosaurus, always wear your hard hat and try not to look too much like a tasty fern. The efficiency would be incredible though. Building a skyscraper in a week? No problem if you've got a crew of dedicated diplodocuses on the payroll. They're slow, sure, but incredibly steady. And they don't ask for overtime pay, just a really big water trough. Alright, so we've got our flying delivery services and our colossal construction crews. What about other sectors? Retail, for instance. Malls are still a thing, sort of, and they always need security. Who better to deter shoplifters than a pack of highly intelligent, surprisingly fast velociraptors? No one is going to try and sneak a pair of jeans past those guys. One glimpse of those sickle claws and that unnervingly focused stare, and suddenly everyone remembers to pay for their merchandise. Every single item. Twice, just to be sure. Excuse me, sir, did you validate your parking and your continued existence? And then there's the entertainment industry, specifically the black hole of content that is TikTok. T-Rexes would be absolute megastars. They wouldn't even need to do much. Just existing would be enough for millions of views. But imagine a T-Rex attempting the latest viral dance challenge, the sheer destructive grace. Buildings might crumble, cars might be inadvertently crushed, but the likes, through the roof. They'd have brand deals, sponsored content. This T-Rex only eats ethically sourced organic influencers. And probably a very complicated relationship with their agent. Rexy baby, the studio loves the concept, but can you try to roar this time? Now let's talk transportation. Forget Uber and Lyft. Welcome to Jurassic Uber. Your ride is here. And it's a Stegosaurus with a custom-fitted saddle, Bluetooth speakers cleverly hidden between its back plates, and maybe even a little air freshener dangling from one of its thagomizer spikes. Imagine commuting to work on the back of a Triceratops, its frill providing excellent shade and a sense of impending prehistoric gravitas. Yeah, I'm going to be a little late, traffic is a nightmare, and Frank the Ankylosaurus is shedding his armor plates all over the highway again. It would be an experience, that's for sure. The possibilities are endless, really. Ankylosauruses could be living demolition crews, just point them at a building and let their tail clubs do the talking. Compsognathus, with their small size and quick movements, could be employed for intricate repair work in tight spaces, assuming you can trust them not to eat the wiring. The key is finding the right dinosaur for the right job, and then hoping they don't suddenly remember their apex predators with millions of years of hunting instinct hardwired into their tiny brains. HR would need a very, very good liability waiver. Super easy, barely an inconvenience for the legal team. So, after we've figured out how not to be eaten by them, and maybe even given some of them jobs, what's the next logical step for humanity when faced with a new species? That's right, we try to make them pets. Of course we do. It's inevitable. We see a 10-ton eating machine with teeth like steak knives, and our first thought is, I wonder if it likes belly rubs and if I can get it a tiny hat. The desire to domesticate the undomesticable is a powerful human urge, right up there with pressing buttons that clearly say do not press. So yes, there would absolutely be people trying to keep dinosaurs as companion animals. And you just know there'd be an entire industry catering to this. Tiny raptor sweaters would be a bestseller on Etsy, probably knitted by someone's very brave grandma. Little booties for their razor-sharp talons to protect the hardwood floors, custom-made leashes forged from high-tensile steel. People would be posting on social media, my little Compsognathus compy just learned to fetch the remote, #dinodad, #cleverboy, he only bit me twice. There'd be dino obedience schools, dino grooming parlors, good luck with bath time for a Pachycephalosaurus, and intense debates online about the ethics of keeping a miniature Stegosaurus in a suburban backyard. The bragging rights would be immense. Oh, your child is an honor student, that's nice. My Dilophosaurus can spit venom with pinpoint accuracy and knows the stay command. Mostly, people would try to one-up each other constantly. One person gets a Microceratus, their neighbor immediately goes out and adopts a Protoceratops just to make a statement. Birthday parties for dino pets would be elaborate, chaotic affairs, probably involving a lot of property damage and very nervous clowns. It's the ultimate status symbol, a living, breathing, potentially very dangerous testament to your disposable income and questionable judgment. And we try to rationalize it, of course. Oh, he's not dangerous, he's just misunderstood, she just needs a firm hand and a lot of space. Of space, like several acres. We'd project all our human emotions onto these ancient reptiles, convincing ourselves that the glint in their eye is affection, not a cold, calculating assessment of our caloric content. We'd give them cute names like Rexy, Spike, or Mr. Snugglesworth the Allosaurus, completely ignoring the fact that Mr. Snugglesworth could swallow a goat whole and barely even burp. It's what we do. We love things, even if those things could easily unlove us. Permanently. So you've got your adorable little dino pet, complete with its own Instagram account and a wardrobe that would make a fashion model jealous. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, I don't know, literally everything? These aren't golden retrievers we're talking about, they're creatures separated from us by 65 million years of evolution, with instincts honed for survival in a world that makes ours look like a petting zoo. So yes, things would go wrong every single time. It's not a matter of, but and. Your homeowner's insurance premiums are about to go intergalactic. Imagine the common pet problems but amplified by a factor of 1,000. Your dog dug up the rose bushes? Cute. Your pet Triceratops just excavated a new basement under your neighbor's prize-winning lawn and possibly destabilized the foundations of their house. Your cat occasionally knocks a glass off the table? Annoying. Your Pachycephalosaurus, in a fit of pique because you served its kibble 5 minutes late, has just headbutted your car into the middle of next week. My Pachycephalosaurus yeeted my neighbor's fence again would be a common refrain on community Facebook groups, right next to lost one slightly singed garden gnome last seen near Rexy's enclosure. And let's be real, some of these dino pets would still be better than owning a cat. Cats choose violence every day, with a quiet, simmering disdain for all living things. They plot your demise while purring on your lap. Dinosaurs, at least, are honest about their intentions. If a velociraptor is sizing you up, it's not because it's pondering the mysteries of the universe, it's because it's wondering if you'll fit in its stomach. There's a certain straightforwardness to it that's almost refreshing. No passive aggression, just pure, unadulterated predatory instinct. You always know where you stand, which is usually in potential danger. So, the dream of a peaceful coexistence with our prehistoric pals as cuddly companions is probably just that, a dream. A dream that ends with a loud crash, a shriek, and a call to a very specialized animal control unit that drives an armored vehicle. There would be support groups. My Dino Did What? Where traumatized owners could share stories of their beloved pets redecorating the living room with their teeth, or mistaking the mailman for a particularly noisy, squeaky toy. It'd be chaotic, expensive, and occasionally terrifying, but hey, at least it wouldn't be boring. And you definitely have stories to tell. Assuming you survive to tell them. So, after we've established that owning a tiny raptor in a sweater is a thing, and that your Pachycephalosaurus is a repeat offender in property damage disputes, what's the next logical step for humanity when faced with giant prehistoric creatures roaming the earth again? Well, it's to monetize them obviously, because if there's one thing humans are good at, it's turning existential threats and wonders of nature into profit centers. So, tourism is going to absolutely explode, sir. Imagine the marketing campaigns. Bored of the Bahamas? Tired of Tuscany? Come experience the Allosaurus migration. It's breathtaking, and potentially life-ending, but mostly breathtaking. People will pay an unbelievable amount of money for that kind of thrill, just to get a selfie that screams, "I have questionable survival instincts." And the logistics of this dino tourism? Oh, it's going to be a masterpiece of over-engineering and underestimation. We're talking about reinforced tour buses that look like they're auditioning for a Mad Max movie, hotels built on stilts so high a brachiosaurus could limbo under them, and tour guides who are probably ex-special forces or just incredibly optimistic. The waiver forms alone would be thicker than a phone book, assuming phone books are still a thing in this dino-filled future. By signing here, you acknowledge that safety railing is merely a suggestion to the Utah Raptor and that the complimentary poncho may not be sufficient protection against Dilophosaurus expectorant. Enjoy your stay. It's going to be great for the legal profession, I tell you. Then you'll have the tiered experiences because capitalism. For the budget-conscious, there's the view the Velociraptors from a very, very safe distance behind quadruple reinforced glass package. For the thrill seekers with too much money, there's the ride alongside a Triceratops herd on a dirt bike adventure helmet and comprehensive life insurance policy sold separately, of course. And the merchandise. Oh, the merchandise will be glorious. My pterodactyl tour was delayed by an actual pterodactyl t-shirts, plush Compsognathus that thankfully don't hunt in packs, and little wind-up T-Rexes that just fall over. It's a goldmine, I tell you, a terrifying, potentially lethal goldmine. And of course, someone somewhere is going to say, you know what Jurassic Park got wrong? Not enough parks. So we'll see the rise of new and improved dino parks. These won't be your grandpa's Jurassic Park. Oh no, these will have slightly better fences maybe. And the insurance premiums to operate one of these establishments. You'd need to mortgage a small country. The main selling point will probably be something like, our dinosaurs are 10% less likely to eat the tourists than at Brand X Dino Park. It's a competitive market, you see. And people will still go because the allure of seeing a living, breathing T-Rex up close is apparently stronger than the basic human instinct for self-preservation. Super easy, barely an inconvenience to get eaten. So, people are looking at these magnificent, resurrected prehistoric beasts, and after the initial awe and terror and after they've bought the t-shirt, you know what the next thought is, right? I wonder what they taste like. Oh yes sir, we are absolutely going to eat dinosaur meat. The ethical debates will be fierce and probably televised. Is it morally reprehensible to consume a creature we brought back from a 65 million year extinction purely for our culinary curiosity? And the counter-argument will be, but what if it's like really delicious, like even better than bacon? Someone's gonna be the first to try a Bronto burger and they'll either be a hero or the subject of a very strange documentary. The culinary world will go nuts. Michelin star chefs will be clamoring to get their hands on some prime pterodactyl wings or a nice ankylosaurus loin. You'll see Mesozoic menus popping up in fancy restaurants. Try our signature Jurassic jerky. It's got that authentic prehistoric tang. Food bloggers will have a field day. This T-Rex tartare is to die for. Literally, the chef was almost eaten sourcing the ingredients. And you just know there will be some fast food chain that tries to make dino nuggets from actual dinosaurs, which is both meta and slightly horrifying. Gordon Ramsay would have a whole new set of proteins to yell about. This Stegosaurus steak is so raw, it's still trying to graze on the salad garnish. And if we're eating them, we're definitely making them race. Forget horse racing, forget Formula 1. The new global sports phenomenon will be dino racing. Imagine pimped-out raptors with custom saddles, probably sponsored by energy drinks, sprinting around a track. The jockeys, they'd need to be adrenaline junkies with a death wish and an incredible sense of balance. And it's Speedy Gonzales the Gallimimus taking the lead, but watch out for Carnage Carl the Carnotaurus on the inside rail. He looks hungry. The GoPro footage from a raptor's head would be the most terrifying and popular content on the internet. The betting scene would be insane. People wagering their life savings on whether a Dilophosaurus can outsprint a pack of Compsognathus. There'd be pit crews, not just changing tires, but maybe applying calming pheromones or sharpening claws, purely for aerodynamic purposes, of course. The potential for chaos is off the charts. Oh, it looks like the lead Parasaurolophus just got spooked by its own reflection in the Jumbotron, and is now running the wrong way. This is why we love Dino Cross, folks. It's entertainment, it's danger, it's probably highly unethical, but boy will it get ratings. Super easy to get those ratings, barely an inconvenience. So, we're living in this brave new world where dinosaurs are part of the economy, part of our diets, and even our primetime sports entertainment. Everything seems to be going surprisingly okay, considering we've introduced apex predators from 65 million years ago into modern society. What could possibly go wrong? Well, sir, this is where the inevitable part of the chapter title comes into play. Because if there's one thing humans are even better at than monetizing things, it's messing things up spectacularly. Someone somewhere, a scientist with too much funding and not enough foresight, is going to think, these dinosaurs are impressive, but what if they were smarter? And what if they could access Twitter, and just like that, they'll genetically engineer a T-Rex or maybe a pack of Velociraptors to have enhanced intelligence. And because it's the 21st century, they'll obviously give it Wi-Fi access. Why? For research, to understand its cognitive processes, or maybe just to see if it can beat the office intern at online poker. The first sign that this was a monumentally bad idea will probably be when the T-Rex starts a blog, or when it figures out how to disable the electric fences using a surprisingly sophisticated phishing scam targeting the park's IT department. We can't negotiate with it, the authorities will say. Why not? The T-Rex will tweet back, you negotiate with corporations that are arguably more destructive. It's got a point, Then, thanks to their newfound smarts and ability to coordinate via encrypted dino chat rooms, probably called Roardit or something, the dinosaurs are going to unionize. That's right, the Amalgamated Union of Prehistoric Workers, local 65 million. They'll have meetings, probably in a secluded forest clearing or a very large abandoned warehouse. Their union rep? A surprisingly eloquent Pachycephalosaurus with a knack for impassioned speeches about workplace safety and the unfairness of being turned into McNuggets. Their list of demands will be extensive better quality foliage, an end to tiny, itchy sweaters, representation in global governance, and a ban on movies that portray them as mindless eating machines. And to get their message out to the wider public, because they're smart now, they'll start a band. The band name, something catchy like Cretaceous Crisis or the Fossil Femurs, and they will release a hit single. The title, Extinct, Not Today. It'll be an absolute banger, probably a power ballad with a surprising amount of theremin, played by a pterodactyl with delicate wing fingers. The music video will feature dinosaurs looking stoic, interspersed with footage of their grievances, a sad Compsognathus looking at a no pets sign, a Brontosaurus unable to fit into a drive-thru. Humans will be like, wow, this song is a bop, and wait, Are those lyrics about overthrowing human dominion? That's concerning. So the dinosaurs have dropped their chart-topping single, they've got their union, and they're demanding equal rights. How do you think humanity, a species that can barely agree on pineapple on pizza, is going to react to this? Predictably, sir, we'll probably try to shut them down. They're just animals, some politician will declare, right before a squadron of highly intelligent pterodactyls takes out the power grid to his entire city. The initial human response will be a mix of disbelief and deploying those weaponized drones we talked about earlier, the ones that scream "clever girl," which, in hindsight, might be a bit too on the nose when fighting sentient raptors. The escalation will be swift and brutal. The dinosaurs, now led by General T-Rex, who has probably read Sun Tzu via its Wi-Fi connection, will retaliate with surprisingly effective and coordinated attacks. Imagine ankylosauruses, the living tanks of the Cretaceous, being used as battering rams against government buildings, flocks of Archaeopteryx jamming radar systems with perfectly timed squawks, Velociraptors, using their enhanced intelligence, infiltrating secure facilities to, change all the cafeteria menus to vegan options. It's psychological warfare mixed with actual warfare. Our advanced military technology versus creatures who've had millions of years of evolutionary R&D and being tough. And then, sir, the world burns. Not literally everywhere, hopefully, but there will definitely be some significant burning. Cities will become battlegrounds. The nightly news will feature T-Rexes battling tanks in Times Square. The stock market will crash, not because of a financial crisis, but because a herd of Triceratops accidentally stampeded through Wall Street. It's the kind of apocalypse no one saw coming, except for maybe a few very niche sci-fi writers and that one guy on the internet who always comments, "first" on everything. The sheer unadulterated chaos of fighting a war against hyper-intelligent, unionized dinosaurs in the modern age. It's a concept so wild it's almost beautiful, in a terrifying, we're all doomed kind of way. And just when you think things can't get any more surreal, Elon Musk will tweet, "Told ya, should have put Neuralink in the dinos first, my bad," or something equally helpful and self-promotional. Other tech billionaires will probably offer their own unhelpful solutions. Maybe Jeff Bezos will offer Prime same-day delivery of anti-dino weaponry, but only to Amazon Prime members in good standing. Mark Zuckerberg will suggest we all just upload our consciousnesses to a dino-free metaverse, which sounds suspiciously like giving up. The point is, the human response will be a glorious mess, and the dinosaurs will probably be better organized. This is not going to end well for the brunch menus, I can tell you that much. So what if dinosaurs still existed? Well, after that little thought experiment, it seems pretty clear we'd probably be their sidekicks. Or, their preferred brand of high-protein snack. It's a coin toss, really. One day you're helping a pterodactyl with its Amazon deliveries, the next you're trying to explain to a T-Rex that, no, it cannot have your car keys just because it asked nicely with a deafening roar. The sidekick role sounds slightly better, if only because it implies you get to stick around for the sequel, assuming there is one, and we haven't been entirely replaced as the dominant species, which, let's be honest, might be an upgrade for the planet, but hey, at least traffic would be interesting. Can you imagine your morning commute? You're trying to merge onto the highway, and there's a brontosaurus just casually taking up 3 lanes, munching on the overhead signs. Or a flock of pterodactyls causing a bird strike situation for a 747, except these birds have a 20-foot wingspan and really bad attitudes. Road rage would take on a whole new meaning when the other guy is a 20-ton Triceratops with a grudge against your tiny electric car. Forget fender benders. We're talking about car flatteners. It'd make rush hour an extreme sport, that's for sure. Your GPS would need a dino hazard warning. So, if you enjoyed this little hypothetical journey into a world overrun by prehistoric awesomeness and questionable human decisions, do us a solid. Like this video, comment with what job you'd want in a dino world, and definitely subscribe to the channel, because if you don't, well, let's just say I've been taking notes and I'm getting pretty good at training T-Rexes. And your Wi-Fi password? It's probably not as secure as you think, especially against a 7-ton lizard with surprisingly nimble claws and a grudge against freeloaders. Just saying. It's super easy to subscribe, barely an inconvenience to avoid digital dino disaster. And remember folks, as our end screen so wisely puts it, extinction is temporary but subscribing is forever. So click that button. For science. For entertainment. And to make sure the only thing going extinct is your boredom, not your internet access. Thanks for watching, and try not to have nightmares about raptors opening doors. Or, do have them, if that's your thing. We don't judge here. Much. Okay, maybe a little. But we still want you to subscribe. It's the circle of life or something.